What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Welcome back to this is gonna be a review of Family or Fiancé. Now they still saying this is season 1, episode 22. Child, I don't know when the hell we're gonna get to season 2, but whatever. Okay, anyway, but we have Craig and Amy on deck, and there was a little bit of a twist to this story with Craig and Amy because normally we're looking for the family to give their approval, but in this one we had a situation between Amy and her sister, and Amy was like, her sister was not invited to the wedding unless some things were going to change this weekend. We also had a situation with Craig and his son, who he invited his son to come, not so much again to get approval, but to say, what is it that we need to do to make our relationship stronger? Because I want you to feel welcome. I want you to feel a part of my family. So this was a good one. So Amy and Craig met at Essence Fest a few years back. We found out that Craig is actually a DJ for Keisha Cole, and as we go through the episode, we found out that Craig he's not just like to quote him, I'm not just a DJ, I'm that DJ. You know, he travels the world. Yes, he DJs for Keisha Cole, but it sounds like he has some other celebrity clients. He also has a DJ company that employs, I forgot how many people he said he employs, and him and Amy have actually started their own business doing the photo booth. I know nowadays you cannot go to anybody's party without a photo booth, child. I got the photo booth when I threw my parents a 50th wedding anniversary party. They had a photo booth. Okay, everybody has a photo booth. I think the last 2 or 3 weddings I went to had photo booths, right? So that they're having a problem with is Amy's family accepting Craig. Now on the surface, I could see the concern. He's got 6 kids by 6 baby mamas. But the flip side is he's also a good provider. And what they told Tracy was things didn't seem to be an issue until they did their engagement photos. And the engagement photos, they took them at the Versace mansion. They drive a nice car. They live a certain lifestyle. And so her family, we could tell her family a little I got the feeling they were maybe a little affluent, maybe came from a upper middle class home, and their concern was, who is this dude? How he making his money? Now he was really upset about the fact that her family did a background check on him. Now we never found out who the actual person was that did the background check. I have a feeling it was her aunt, but let me say this right here, right now. I ain't mad about that. I understand where he's coming from and where his family is coming from. But on her side, and they said that it came out of a place of concern because of past situations. So it sounds like maybe Amy hasn't made the best decisions in the past, and her family felt like they needed to kind of protect her or have her back. I don't know. That's the impression I got. I got a little ahead of myself. Hold on. Let me pause that. So we have, for Amy, we have her sister, her aunt, and her niece are there. And then for Craig, we have his mom, his sister, and his son. I said that, his son. Yo, Craig's mama she just as cute as she could be, honey. Mama saw that pool and said, why y'all ain't tell me? I'd have brought my bathing suit. And he was like, oh, mama, you was going to get in the pool? She said, yeah, I was getting in the pool. Said, after I had me a couple of drinks. I said, I know that's right, mama, had me a couple of drinks. And then another part of the episode, she said she was having a hard time sleeping. She said she don't sleep too well at home. And Craig was like, well, you know, there's some things that are legal here that'll help you with that sleeping. And she was like, oh, I want some of that. And the sister was like, no, you don't, mama. She was like, yes, I do. I was like, yeah, you thought your mama ain't know what he was talking about. Mama knew what he was talking about. That medicinal. So, you know, Tracy, y'all was doing good for a couple of episodes, but we're right back to the same bullshit. Amy gonna cook dinner with his family, and his family don't seem to have no problem with Amy. It's the other way around. And then they're gonna play 20 questions with him so they can ask him anything they want to know. But my thing is, hell, they've already done the background check. What else do they want to know? Shit, they've already found out what they want to know. I mean, I'm just saying. But when they were doing the blessing ceremony, y'all, Craig mama When I tell y'all Craig's mama is as that mama, because Craig's mama said, listen, I don't know why y'all would do a background check on my son. So just because somebody living a certain lifestyle, because they got a little bit of money, they automatically it has to be a problem. They got to be selling drugs or something. She said, my son is a good man. He came from nothing. I remember when he left home and he was living out of his car. He was driving from gig to gig, and he built himself up. And baby, when I tell you she was riding for her son, and he was over there in tears, and she was like, don't cry. And he was like, nah, mama, nah. But you could hear the pride in her voice of her son, and how hurt she was that we say we want black men to do better. We say we want black men not to be the stereotype, but when one shows up, then the first thing you think is, oh, well, he got to be selling drugs. He just a DJ. Do y'all know how much money DJs make? DJ Khaled, hence the name, started off as a DJ. Like, do you know his net worth? Like, what is wrong with y'all people? Anyway, but what I was saying though was, I ain't have no problem with the background check. Hell, I have done background checks on people for a first date. And in this day and age where we can, I don't see the problem with it. I understand, but like I said, I do understand his side of the family having an issue. Now, the situation with the sisters, she said they've had problems their whole life, and there's been some jealousy about who the favorite sister was and all that good stuff. But the main issue at hand was that Stacy's daughter and her sister's daughter got into some sort of confrontation. The police were called, and Stacy's sister ended up pressing charges against her niece, aka Amy's daughter. And Amy's thing was, you didn't cross the line. Like, that's my child. You're her aunt. Why would you do that? And she tried to lie and say, well, I didn't have no choice in the matter. The police showed up. She was like, but you didn't have to press charges. Like, when the police showed up, but you didn't have to press charges. Like, you could have said, nah, we good. Like, and the sister wasn't really trying to have a conversation. She was like, well, I don't really want to talk about that here. I don't really want to have that conversation here. And so the next day they decided that they would have a conversation. Now, Amy, I'm going to say this. And I feel like, I'm sure it was edited down to what we saw. But from what we saw, it looked like you were real quick to the trigger to be like, well, forget it there. I don't want to have this conversation with you. Because you felt like the sister just wasn't trying to hear what you had to say or apologize, because she said, I just wanted an apology. And I feel like your daughter was the one that needed the apology, but okay. When they were cooking dinner, I'm all over the place with this, y'all, so y'all just gotta work with me. When they were cooking, hold on, y'all. I lost my place now, but it just seemed like the sister situation clearly is deeper and longer than we knew. And they're not going to resolve it in a weekend. But there just was a point where it just seemed like the sister wasn't trying to take ownership. But it also seemed like Amy was real quick to be like, whatever, I ain't trying to hear your bullshit. But again, I feel like that's coming from the years of what we don't see. The built up relationship that we have not seen. Craig and his son. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Okay. So when they were cooking dinner, Amy went out of her way to talk to Craig's son and let him know, listen, I love, I want to get to know you. We're going to exchange phone numbers. I want to make sure we include you in whatever we have going on and, all that good stuff. So she was doing a really good job of including the son and trying to build a relationship with the son. But I was loving the conversation that Craig had with his son. He said, I know our relationship hasn't always been the best, but I really want to start from here and move forward. Like, what is it that I need to do to be a better father to you? He was like, you're my firstborn. I have a great relationship with all of my other kids except for you. And I really want to figure out how we can make this a better relationship. And what I walked away from the first part of that conversation was, this is what bitter baby mama drama looks like. And it sounds like him and the mother of his child could not get along, and which it trickled down to him. he was saying, remember that, and what his son started to say was, remember when I came and lived with you? He said that was the best time of my life. And I'm assuming he went home for some sort of break or whatever to visit his mom. The mom called back to Craig and was like, he hates living with you. He don't want to come back. And it was actually the total opposite. He loved living with his dad and he wanted to go back. And when Craig didn't argue, he didn't question it, he was just like, okay, fine, he can stay there. The son said he felt like, I felt like you didn't really fight for me. Like, I felt like you just accepted it, and it hurt me because I felt like you didn't want me with you anymore. I felt like you didn't want me there. And he was like, oh, that wasn't it at all. Like, that was the total opposite. I was told you didn't like it and you hated it. I wasn't going to make you live somewhere you didn't want to live. And so I said, that is what bitter baby mama drama looks like. I ain't saying Craig is perfect because I don't know him. I ain't saying he didn't make no mistakes because I don't know that either. But what I am saying is, from that young man's perspective, that's what it is. And he said, my mom and my dad have never gotten along, and I've always just been in the middle. And I've always just kind of just, stayed to myself and let them do what they had to do. And so what we see now is a father who did want to be a part of his son's life, but took the road of less resistance by saying, you know what, she tripping. She not going to let me be a part of my child's life. And so I'm just going to sit over here and it's going to be what it's going to be. And so he said, ultimately Craig was like, I do want to be a part of your life. I want us to find, some common ground and to find a way to really get to know each other. He said, and I'm going to start by, I want you to be one of my groomsmen in my wedding. I want you to walk down the aisle with me when we come in. We're going to walk down the aisle. And we saw later on in the episode, he actually took him to... What in the world? He actually took him to the bridal shop to get fitted for his tux, and they practiced walking and stuff. And it was a moment. It was definitely a moment. And I thought his son, perfect. Perfect. And we found out later on he was in the wedding and all that great stuff. Now the niece was like, listen, I really need y'all to resolve this. She was like, because you miss your she's talking to her mother, the sister. And she said, I need you to go talk to, Aunt Amy, because I know you miss her. I know you want a relationship with her. You just you gotta humble yourself. You gotta apologize because you were wrong. And so she did end up apologizing. But child, it was like pulling teeth, honey. And Amy was like, I still don't know if I want her at my wedding because it's just been so much. Like, so much water has just gone under that bridge. And the one thing I didn't like, see, I told y'all I'm all over the place. When they were doing the 20 questions, and we found out that Amy's sister had been in the hospital and she had been near death. And one of the things Amy said was, I really would hate if my sister died and she died and I didn't get a chance to tell her I loved her, died while we not speaking. So one of the questions the sister asked Craig was, well, have you done anything to encourage her to try to fix her relationship with her sister? That's not his place. Like, it would be nice, but it ain't his place to play mediator between the two of y'all. I just thought that was an interesting question, and I was like, wow. Anyway, I mean, his answer was yes, that he did, but I just didn't feel like that was his place to do that. So then we have, so that's when, I'm sorry, so fast forward. When they would get ready to do the final ceremony, Amy was saying how she wasn't sure. She said even with the apology, she wasn't sure if she wanted her sister at the wedding. She said, I don't know. The sister agreed to drop the charges when they got back home. She said she would drop the charges. And so they got to the blessing ceremony. Everybody gave him their blessing. Because again, his family was just concerned about her family accepting him. And they had a chance to talk throughout the weekend and, get to know each other. And they were cool with it. So everybody gave their blessing. And when it came time for Amy to say whether her sister was invited to the wedding, she said, against my better judgment, I'm going to say, yes, you can come to the wedding. And the sister was happy. She was all like, yes, yes, yes. And then we find out that she did drop the charges. So she did keep her promise and drop the charges, but didn't come to the wedding. And when Amy called, never answered the phone. So I don't know, child. We need a part 2. They need to go on Ayala. They need to go on Ayala because they sound like they got a whole lot of shit with them. And it sounds like it stems from childhood, jealousy. I don't know who daddy's favorite child. I don't know. But anyway, it was a good episode. It was a really, really good episode. A really good episode. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.